forgot to apply primer. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new, then welcome to my channel, which is all about makeup and beauty. And today I'm going to be showing you my everyday makeup. Now this is the look that I do every day. Now sometimes when I'm in a rush I do skip some of the steps, but I'll let you know which steps they are in the video while I'm doing the tutorial. Now, if you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. You can also catch me on Instagram where you can watch my stories for daily beauty news and also some product reviews and some PR unboxing. Now let's jump straight into the video. So I don't have anything on my skin other than obviously these under eye masks. I thought I'd put them on a little bit earlier because otherwise we're just going to be here all day while you're waiting for this to actually work. So these are actually the Nesco, I think that's how you say it, Nesco, it's K-N-E-S-K-O. Nesco Skin Eye Mask Diamond Radiance. So they're natural collagen hydrogel masks and it just kind of like brightens the area. I don't usually like wearing gel eye masks because they kind of like slide all over the place. But you know what, I'm going to give these a go and see what they're like. They seem to be okay so far. They're kind of like staying in place. So although this is like how I do my makeup every day, I wanted to focus mainly on makeup. Like I'm going to start with primer going upwards towards my makeup because my skincare in terms of my moisturizer and stuff, that's just my basic stuff which I've gone through on a previous video anyway. I don't always put under eye masks on, but I do probably every few days or so while I'm doing my makeup, so I thought today I would put it on. Now the first thing that I usually do is apply my concealer on my lid, and yes, these are sliding a little bit, so yeah, let's just reposition them, keep them there. So the first thing I do is put some concealer on my lids, and I'm using my favorite, as you guys already know, is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in medium 35N. I'm going to apply a small amount of this just to my lids. And then I just get my beauty blender, and this beauty blender is dry, by the way. You don't always have to use a dry one, like sometimes I like using a damp one. I don't really mind. When I'm applying it to my lids, then it doesn't really bother me, so you can pick whichever one you prefer. So I'm just kind of pressing this in, so I'm kind of like just patting it in, and I want to get a really nice clean finish on my lids. My everyday makeup, I don't really wear any eyeshadow or anything or any eyeliner, so it's really important for me to be able to just have that nice clean lid because that's mainly what is like kind of being shown. So I don't want all that darkness there, so that's why I like to apply concealer on my eyelids because it just covers up all that darkness. There you go. Now it's just nice and even. If only I just didn't have to do that every day. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to go in with my powder. Now I'm going to show you, see the thing is I'm showing you how I do my makeup every day, or like most days. This is my go-to look, right? But I don't always use the same powder, I just alternate, depends what I feel like. Sometimes I use the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder in banana bread. Sometimes I use my banana powder from Benai. So it really just depends. I think today what I'll do is use my, what should I use? I'm gonna use my, okay, I'll use my Huda Beauty. Okay, so I'm looking down because I wanna make sure there are no creases there. I'm gonna get my powder puff. I always use the MERCIER powder puff, and I'm just dipping it into the Huda Beauty powder, and then I'm just gonna press it on top. There you go. Now you can see we've got a good amount of powder there. Now what I'm doing is just getting my brush. I'm using my Real Technique setting brush, and I'm just gonna like dust all this away. So you can see I don't actually let it sit there for long. And obviously I am way quicker at this when I'm not filming, like super quick. Now there you go. So now that kind of what I've done on my lids. Whoa, these little like things are just sliding all over the place. You can see I didn't really leave that powder on that long. I literally pressed it in and then just dusted it off with my brush because you don't really need to leave it on that long. You can just dust it off straight away. nothing's going to happen. It's not going to reduce the amount of time that it's going to stay on or anything. If anything, it actually looks less cakey and it just looks a little bit more natural. So that's done. Now what I'm going to do is actually do my concealer on my under eyes, because I finish off my eyes right at the end. So I'm just going to take these off. I think I looked better with them on. Right, now the serum that these eye masks kind of leave on can be a little bit too much for me, so I'm just kind of smoothing it out. There you go. But that's nice and tacky there now, so I like that. But I don't like too much serum there. Now I'm going to go back with my concealer, and it's the same one, my Tarte Shape Tape, and I'm literally just going to apply some here. Here. Now while I'm letting that kind of semi-dry a little bit, I'm going to go in with my NARS Creamy Concealer, and I'm just going to apply it just a small amount here. Now I'm getting my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood complexion brush, and I'm just gonna like buff this concealer in a little bit. All this does is just give me a little bit of brightness in these areas, and also just covers up any redness that I have, which I usually have around my kind of chin area. And then here, this is just kind of like brightening it up for me a little bit, because I always like, it always looks a little bit dark here. So okay, so that is done there. Now I can start buffing in my concealer on my under eyes. So I'm just going to go in with my beauty blender, which is kind of damp. And I'm just letting it, I'm just bouncing it on the under eye area, and this is kind of like giving me that really nice coverage. That's done. Okay, so now I'm going to use my Marc Jacobs Accomplice Concealer in Tan. This is Tan 46. I'm literally just applying the smallest amount here. I only do this little bit on the nose if I have time. To be fair, I don't really do it every single time. So if I have time, then I will. And sometimes, now I'm basically buffing this out, by the way, with my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood complexion brush into my hairline. And sometimes I don't even apply the NARS concealer, like if I don't have much time. So I want to show you what I would do if I have the time. This is my go-to makeup look, and I think most of the time I do have the time. I think there are some days where I just don't, and then I've got to kind of like ditch the things that, you know, are not really that necessary. So you can see I've kind of like buffed that in, and I've kept it in the same place because I don't really want it moving around, because not only is it helping to, this is not just contouring for me, this is also kind of warming up my face a little bit so it doesn't look so flat when I've applied my foundation. So now I'm going to flip the brush over, and I'm just going to like buff this around my nose. I'm just keeping the shape the same. So I still want that kind of like definition there, but I don't want to see those harsh lines. So now I'm going to go over with my foundation. I'm using my Tarte Face Tape foundation. It's one of my favorite foundations. So just going to apply, I don't actually have to use a lot of this foundation. I guess that's what I really love about this foundation, is that I don't have to use that much. I just kind of like spread it out over the back of my hand like this, like that. And then I just get my beauty blender, and I always keep two separate beauty blenders, one for my concealer and one for my foundation, because I just don't want to mix the two. So I'm going to just buff into the back of my hand, and now I'm going to start buffing onto my skin. So it's the smallest amount because obviously I've got concealer on and I don't like to apply too much foundation. So that's all over my forehead now, and then I take it under my eyes and then out. So I'm following the same shapes that I created with my concealer. And then I'm just going to take it into my nose just to cover up those lines. I forgot to apply primer. Although sometimes I don't actually apply primer, because if I don't have time, then that's one of the things that I would like leave out. So let's just take it as that. But if I were to apply primer, then it would have been the one that I've recently been using, which I love, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Invisible UV Flawless Poreless Primer. It's actually SPF 50, which is what I really love about it. But yeah, I forgot to apply that today, but no worries. I think we can still get a good look from this because, you know, I've done it before without primer. So I'm going to go into my powder. I'm using the same one, the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in Banana Bread. And I'm just going to get my powder puff and I'm going to start pressing it into my under eye area. But before I do that, I always get the tip of my beauty blender and I make sure that there are there's no foundation or concealer sitting in those creases, because I don't know how many times I've said this, guys, in my videos, but if you set foundation in those creases, then you're setting creases. So we're gonna get rid of that. There you go. So I just press that in and I'm just taking that onto my forehead. And you can see this powder really kind of disappears into the skin. Some powders just like sit on top of the skin and you've really got to press it in. This one really does kind of sink in. So now that I've done that, I've kind of applied that everywhere. I'm going to go in with my 122 brush from Makeup Forever, and whatever's left on my face, I'm just going to dust that off. I don't do my under eyes like that though. I use my Real Technique setting brush and then I dust that off because that fits perfectly my under eye area. Next, I do my eyebrows, and this is where I need a mirror just because I need to see a little bit more closer. I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz because I'm sorry, it's the best. It just is. It's the best one around. Now I'm just gonna brush through my hair, not because I have so much of it and I need to keep it in place, but because, you know, there's powder and foundation in there. I wish I did have a lot. I used to, when I was younger, I had full on bushy brows, but you know, then I decided to pluck them. And then it went a little bit too far. And then I remember I had to literally pencil in my brow. I was at school at the time, it looked awful, oh my God. And that was a time when it was like really on trend to have thin brows. And yeah, I just wish I never did it, because that one time that I overplucked, they never ever grew back the same. And now I don't really get much at the ends, which I don't mind, to be fair, because I like to lift them up a little bit, because wherever they do grow, it's a little bit too low. It's like I don't want brows like that, you know? So anyway, moving on, we're gonna start shaping my brows. And this is where I just like do little strokes and I just want to get this shape right. So I'm filling it in wherever I know it's a little bit kind of sparse. And even though I've had my brows microbladed, I still always shape them. So can you see I'm just drawing in the hairs? I usually like to make sure that I get this underside area really nice and clean, and then I like the hairs to kind of like show on the top part of the brow. So I can see I need to fill this bit here. Okay, I like that brow, so I'm just going to go over and do the other side. Okay, now I move on to my second product for my brows, which is my Lime Crime Bushy Brow Pen, which I absolutely love. And this shade is called Baby Brown. And this is where I literally just draw in just some feather strokes to really, it just gives my brows a bit more dimension as well, so it's just not one shade, but it also just gives it that really nice fluffy look. Okay, so now I just recently started using this and I love it. It's the Huda Beauty Bomb Brows, and I use medium brown, and it is amazing. Literally, sometimes I just use this on its own, but I really wanted to show you exactly what I do on a daily basis, or like, you know, when I have time. So I'm just gonna like brush this through. I want to try one of their lighter shades because I generally like to lighten my brows a little bit, but this really does like keep the brows in place, and it also does give it that nice fluffy look. Okay, so now I'm going to use my Huda Beauty Lifeliner liquid pen. This is literally the best liquid eyeliner pen that I have ever used. It is amazing. My favorite, which has been my favorite for years, has been the Tom Ford eye defining pen, because it's double-ended. You've got a smaller one at one end and you've got a slightly longer pen at the other end. Still is my favorite. I love it because I love the fact that there are 2 different types of brushes on either side, on each side. But this is now right next to that. This is my favorite as well. I love it. So it's just so thin. It's such a good brush. So what I do now is I apply this on my lash line, but super close to my lashes and only on the first quarter of my eye. So I'm going to show you here. Literally, I just did it there. That's it. I'm going to do the same on the other side. That's it. So that's the only place I apply it when I'm doing my kind of everyday look. Then I move in with my lash curlers, and I use my Kevin Aucoin lash curlers because they are amazing. And I'm just going to curl my lashes. So I just like literally keep pressing a few times. There you go. Now you can actually see my lashes. Next, I'm using my Fenty Beauty Full Frontal Mascara. It's just a really easy everyday mascara, and I only apply a small amount because I'm going to put my lashes on. And again, some days when I don't have time, I don't put lashes on, but how can I not put lashes on? I mean, I have a lash brand. How can I not put lashes on? I'm going to use my lashes in Nina. I love these lashes. And I'm just going to apply some glue to the strip. And currently I'm using the Huda Beauty Sticky Tack Lash Glue. It's quite good. So I'm just kind of going to apply a small amount to the strip. I just get like a stick. It's actually from a brush, but the actual brush fell off. So I just use one end of that to just apply a really thin amount. I'm just literally, it's so close, like you won't be able to see this, I don't think. And I'm just applying a really thin layer and doing it on the other strip. Okay, so now that glue is kind of semi-dry. It's not too wet, but it's also not fully dry. So I'm gonna go in and apply this, and I'm literally just gonna like place this super, super close to my lash line. And then I'm just gonna leave that right there. Do the same on the other eye. Now I'm going to stick down the outer corners, and now stick down the inner corners. Okay, so now my lashes are on. I go back to my mascara and I use the thin side of the mascara because there are 2 sides to this mascara. There's a fat side and thin side. I'm going to use the thin side just for my lower lashes, and just like to give it a slight messy lash, but without it looking like there's too much mascara on. So kind of sometimes like just pull the excess off. See, I feel like that's a little bit too much, so I'm gonna pull it off. Next, I give myself a quick nose contour. I'm using my Fenty Beauty Sunstalker in Shady Biz and my Fenty Beauty 200 brush, and I literally just create a V here. Now I've got a video on this, so there is another video that just purely focuses on how I contour my nose on a day-to-day basis, like a really quick, easy contour. So all I do is just create a line on the side of the bridge of the nose there, and another one here, and you'll see how this just starts to just slim down my nose a little bit. Now, all I do when it comes to my highlighter, and again, I don't do this all the time, I just get a very small amount of it's my STILA Heaven's Hue highlighter in Kitten. Just get a normal dome brush. I don't know what this brush is. It's a dome brush, and I just literally apply the smallest amount just across my nose there. Okay, although I'm about to just bronze up my face and also just kind of sculpt it a little bit, I'm gonna just prep my lips quickly. I'm using my Dior Lip Maximizer, and I usually put this on and then let it kind of get to work while I do another part of my face. This one's running out now, more or less has run out, so that's why I'm like scraping it out and trying to get it on. Okay, so next up I'm gonna use my bronzer. It's not actually a bronzer, it is actually a setting powder, but I love it for just kind of like warming up my face. So I'm using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD powder in Tan Neutral, which is 4.2. I'm just gonna get a very small amount onto my brush. I'm using my Hourglass ambient lighting brush. This brush is amazing. I just love it. The Hourglass brushes are so insane, they're so good. So I'm using the larger part of the brush because it's dual-ended. And I'm basically just warming up my face, but along the perimeter. So I'm gonna go into the hairline here. And this kind of style suits my face shape because I've got a round face. So anything to slim it down, just to make it look longer. So I'm just applying it along the cheekbone. I'm pressing it in, so I'm not kind of dusting it all the way across. And I'm doing it as quick as I would do when I'm doing my makeup. Like, I'm not gonna spend ages kind of explaining every single part because I've actually got a video on every single part separately to really, really give you detail on it. I just wanna show you, like, that's how I do it. Because if I start kind of telling you, if I start going a little bit too in depth, then I feel like it gets a little bit confusing because there's so much to keep up with. I'm just gonna like take it along the face. Now I feel like that's warmed me up. I feel like I've got some warmth on my face and there's a little bit of definition there so it doesn't feel so flat. And I'm gonna go into my powder that I like using to actually sculpt my face. And I'm gonna use my other Hourglass brush now. And this is the dual-ended powder brush. And there's like, I love this end of it. It's amazing. And this powder I used to use for years, and then I like completely ran out of it. Actually, it broke, so I kept a small amount of it in a little box and I was just like using it from the box. So I just ordered a new one. And although you can't get this on the high street, it is the most amazing color to sculpt with. And this is the Benai Media Pro compact powder, and this specific shade is number 35, which is Honey Spice, and I absolutely love it. So now I'm just gonna apply this just on the areas that I want to really kind of sculpt. I'm very lightly applying it, I'm not pressing hard, so you can see that's given me some definition there now. So I feel like that's kind of like enough. I'm gonna do the other side. Yeah, I feel like we've got enough here. That's literally where I use it, but I love that powder. It is amazing. It's just the right shade for my skin tone. Next up, we're gonna do the lips, and I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude Lip Liner, and now I've got a little bit of excess Dual Lip Maximizer on, so I'm just gonna blot that. And I'm gonna go in with my lip line. And now I do go over my lip line a little bit, but mainly on the center section. So I make sure that this starts from my real lip line here, and then I go up in the middle. So very faint though, because I don't like it too obvious. Now I'm gonna go with my Anastasia Beverly Hills lipstick in Hollywood, and just apply a little bit of this here, and then I just kind of blend it in with my lip brush. And I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury lip brush. And that's it. So this is my everyday makeup look. Again, like I mentioned, there are a few steps that I will miss out if I don't have time. There is also a video on how you can keep this lip color going all day, and you can head over there now because that shows the technique that I use in order to keep this lipstick on all day. Literally don't even need to reapply it. Whereas how I've done it right now, probably will need to reapply it later on in the day. But yeah, that is my everyday makeup look. So there you go, that is how I do my makeup every day. I really do hope you've enjoyed it and you like this look. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comments box below, as I always answer. Don't forget that all the products that I used are in the description box, so if you want to purchase any of them, all you need to do is just click on the links. Now, as always, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.